Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC card. With your host, the Guru, back again for UFC Vegas 71. Sergey Pavlovich taking on Curtis Razor Blaydes, your heavyweight main event, a title contender eliminator. But before we can get into that, we have a very special guest host in the building tonight, today, right now. I mean, come on, you got to know this guy. Famous, out here, calling fights for Flex Fight, doing a ton of journalism work for, I believe, On Point, right? Oh my God! No, not On Point. Fuck On Point. I didn't put up Twitter. I'm such a jerk off. Who are you doing your journalism stuff for, man?
I'm writing shit for The Scrap
currently. The Scrap with Jake, who's another dude. The Scrap is way better. Fuck On Point. The Scrap doing Rage and Cage AZ. Man, he's out here. We're laughing already. Ben, the Bane Davis. What the fuck is good, my guy? Oh my God, I'm so sorry I flubbed that up.
Dude, you're excellent. That was funny. It's good, man. Thanks for having me. You know, this is like I mentioned before we went live, one of my favorite pods to do. I love the preparation that both you and TB bring, and it's always a good time.
TB? Who?
Who is sorry, you're gosh, the name of your co-host, I can't remember. He's gone. What is his name? Yeah, nobody knows.
He's long forgotten about now. No, listen, TB, we miss you, bud. Listen, and TB put in some work. He did the PowerPoint for us as always. He's out having fun. We'll miss him. See him back next week. Ben, what is good, buddy? What's new?
Not a ton, man. You know, just doing a lot of work in, the play-by-play department. I was with Empire down in Bogota. Did a show with John Morgan, which went excellent. Tomorrow morning, I'm flying out to Long Island. We've got Flex Fight Series. I think it's Smack to the Future is the theme. Very 80s, Back to the Future inspired. Our biggest fight card to date. I mean, it started at 40 fights, bro. We're doing like back-to-back events. So I'm going to be on the call for over 80 different athletes, which is going to be a lot of prep work. I've started yesterday. I didn't have the chance to continue it today. So, next few days are going to be insane, Herculean tasks of broadcasting. But if anyone's prepped, it's going to be me.
It's definitely you. And we're sorry to take you away. But listen, when duty calls, when we need our co-host, our fill-in co-host, as always, I mean, you're family, bro. I mean, we call you up anytime now. I don't know if anybody else could do quite as good a job as you, and it's going to be more interesting as you continue to get bigger and bigger, and you're calling CFFC with John Morgan next and replacing CM Punk. You'll still be coming on the Chronic Combat, and we're going to appreciate that. You'll never forget your roots.
Never, brother, never.
But listen, let's talk about this main event. Why don't you tee it up for us? Show us the range.
I'll give you the range. This marquee matchup at 265, man, it's one of the heaviest events that's going to occur. This is a Godzilla versus King Kong type matchup at the really upper echelon of heavyweights. These are, in my opinion, some of the best on the planet, and Curtis Razor Blaydes is, in fact, the number one guy. I don't give a fuck who the champion is. I don't give a fuck who the number one contender is. Who cares about Stipe Miocic? Curtis Blaydes is, pound for pound, the best heavyweight on the planet, but will he be able to finally beat a power puncher in Sergey Pavlovich? Now, we talk historically. Pavlovich's last loss comes in 2018 against Alistair Overeem. Overeem trips him and then just puts him away with the ground and pound. We've seen Blaydes do that to a number of different competitors, but 17-3, those three losses, in Ngannou on 2 occasions and Derek Lewis on 1 occasion. Those are the 3 men, or 3 times that Curtis Blaydes has lost to 2 men. And when you really look at the similarities between Ngannou, Lewis, and Pavlovich, I can sort of see history repeating itself. As big as I am on Curtis Blaydes, he has struggled to beat these power punchers, even when he's having so much success. Guru, we talked about that first round against Derek Lewis. Razor Blaydes was looking excellent. He was really establishing range with that jab. He was keeping Lewis behind those black lines, was timing everything perfectly, and then one wayward shot in round 2, and he's unconscious on the canvas. That risk is always present against a guy in Sergey Pavlovich who has 14 wins by KO. He's a finisher. So I don't know. I don't know if we want to jump to the predictions necessarily at this moment in time on the main event, but you can sort of feel where I'm leaning.
Listen, I'm picking up what you're putting down, so to speak. I really think that Sergey, I came into this week kind of feeling on Curtis, right? Some of the narrative coming into this fight is when you touched on it very appropriately, Bane. The Alistair Overeem fight. Sergey gets in there. They're striking a little bit. Sergey actually goes to start clinching and wrestling a little bit, is unable to do so, and Overeem reverses him, gets into mount, and pulverizes him from there. And I feel like that's really stuck in a lot of people's minds, not really realizing the fact that this is the guy's debut, and they're giving him number 6 at the time, Alistair freaking Overeem. Do you know what Overeem has that Curtis Blaydes doesn't, other than a ton of horse meat and all the Flintstone vitamins money could buy? He has legit punching power, really scary striking, and you could see Sergey respecting that striking. And let's be fair, is it really respecting the striking, or is it his UFC debut and he's got some jitters, right? So he has a tough outing there versus the very seasoned Alistair Overeem. But since then, he has looked absolutely impeccable. 5 first-round stoppages, all by knockout.
I completely agree. And, you got to think that was 2018 when he lost Overeem. That was over 5 years ago. And I can only assume that he has probably addressed the grappling. We haven't seen it, back-to-back sub 1 minute KOs in his last one, a 4-minute KO against Shamil Abdurakhimov. Like, he hasn't displayed it. There hasn't been enough time in his fights to display the grappling improvements. But I have to imagine in the last 5 years, he's addressed those weaknesses. And I will offer this. He has beaten, in my opinion, maybe not the greatest competition. Maybe not the greatest. Tai Tuivasa coming back a little bit too soon, from that Cyril Gane stoppage. Derek Lewis, who didn't look fantastic. I believe he was already on a skid. Shamil Abdurakhimov is a perennial stepping stone for heavyweight contenders. The UFC loves using Shamil to, prop other guys up. Then you head back down even further. 2019, a pair of wins against Marcelo Golm and Maurice Green, who, again, aren't exactly the greatest. So if you want to look at strength of schedule, it does fall with Curtis Razor Blaydes. He's fought tougher competition. He's beaten tougher competition, and he's only lost to the best in the world. So I think when you take a peek at the records, that's 17-1. It looks impressive, but in my opinion, it is padded. However, I've been wrong every fucking time I've criticized this guy. So
I think what you're also touching on is the fact that Curtis Blaydes is the rightful favorite. With his wrestling upside, with his strength of schedule, Curtis Blaydes has been a favorite in every single one of his UFC fights, even the Ngannou rematch. He has been a favorite in every single one of his fights. You have to assume he's the rightful favorite here. He could very well be winning until he loses. One of the things that I, again, still find interesting is you bring up the Derek Lewis fight. Curtis Blaydes was not very successful with his takedowns in that fight, which was one of the things that was very interesting. He was having some success on the feet, right? Outlanding Derek, because Derek only landed 4 strikes, but he goes 0 for 3 on his takedown attempts. Sure, he goes 3 of 6 on Jairzinho, and then with each one of those landed takedowns, controls Jairzinho for basically the rest of the round. I'm not sure. He didn't use it versus Chris Daukaus, which basically was a fight for him to practice his striking anyway, and that's fine. And then the Tom Aspinall fight, let's not even talk about that. Heart-wrenching 8-second knee injury.
Yeah, there's nothing to extrapolate. There's nothing really to take from the Aspinall fight, which is tough. But that Daukaus one, yeah, there's a little bit to learn there. 0 takedowns attempted, man. He finished that one on the feet. And I will say this, the threat of the takedown is always there, right? Look at that, 14 for 25 against Volkov, over 6 against Dos Santos. Like, maybe he's not landing, but he's attempting. It's always there. And I think Sergey Pavlovich might be thinking about that a little bit too much. And then boom, there comes that right hand of Razor Blaydes. I think that's going to be an avenue that might surprise people in this one.
I honestly don't think we're I don't think we're saying anything crazy in here and expecting a finish, not expecting this fight to reach championship rounds, maybe not even expecting it to reach the 2nd or 3rd round. So it kind of brings us to our bets, right? And listen, I understand anybody that needs to play Curtis, that maybe thinks that he's gonna keep that wrestling going, like you said. From what I've watched and from what I understand, it's difficult to get your wrestling going if you have to move backwards. And Curtis, if he doesn't properly respect Sergey, he's going to get clipped. And if he doesn't, like landing 14 takedowns, shooting 14 to 25 versus Volkov, like you can't shoot 25 takedowns on Sergey Pavlovich. Like it's that volume, that the ability to have that volume won't be there because he will clip you when you're shooting in. So you have to be careful. And Curtis Blaydes has shown, in my opinion, to not necessarily have the greatest fight IQ. So that something that sketches me off. And at a dog price, I gotta take Sergey. So I took Sergey plus 330 by round one knockout. The guy has, again, 5 straight round one knockouts. So why not take a plus 330 for his best chance? Because let's just be honest. If it really gets out of round one, you can't be feeling as great because Curtis Blaydes absolutely will have the cardio advantage. I also really love the under 1.5 in this spot, minus 140. I really think that within 7.5 minutes, one of these guys ends up in trouble because Curtis will not have the time to establish his wrestling over 25 minutes. He will need to wrestle him and finish him because if Sergey gets backed up, it's in trouble. So Bane, please, what do you think?
Well, to sort of echo your thoughts, I mean, Pavlovich, yes, riding 5 first-round finishes, but in all 14 of his knockouts, they all came in the first 5. All 14 are round 1 KOs. So at plus 330, when historically that's when his knockouts occur, that's a steal, baby. That's a steal. That's going to the bank and pulling out the 9mm. You know what I mean? But I got to think about this, right? At dog odds anyways. Pavlovich plus 145. This is pick 'em in my opinion. I think this should be lined at like much tighter, plus 110, 115 at worst. At plus 145, why not try and snatch up some Sergey? And then you look at the prop of him by KO, it's plus 175. So it's like, why would I risk it? What if he gets a sub? What if he wins by decision somehow? I'd rather still have that dog odds. So plus 145, I don't hate it, but Blaydes KO, minus 115. That's worth a sprinkle too. Those elbows. If Curtis Blaydes can get you down when he starts landing those elbows and that ground and pound, listen, he's called Razor for a reason. This guy he's gonna cut you up if he has the chance. And again, we talked about Sergey's finishes. Curtis Blaydes has 12 finishes inside his 17 wins. So this guy's finishes as well. I like the under 1.5. I don't hate it. And that's kind of what I think about it.
Don't hate it. Listen, if it goes over 1.5, you gotta love Curtis at that point. You'd really, because I don't know that Sergey's carrying any power anywhere. I don't know what his cardio is like. And that's where again I think Curtis is the rightful favorite. But I'm gonna take a dog shot here. I think Sergey's next up, man. And by the way, a little inflammatory comment. You said Blaydes is the best heavyweight. I think a little guy named John Bones Jones might have something to say about
Curtis
that.
Blaydes absolutely wipes Jones off the mat.
What?
John Jones. Yes, he does. Curtis
No.
Razor Blaydes walks through him. It's the easiest fight in the division for Curtis Blaydes. That's my personal thought. That's my philosophy. It's what I'm going to stick to. I don't rate John Jones incredibly high at 265. Now, recent performance, breezing through Cyril Gane. Should that make me rethink? Maybe, but I'm not rethinking it. Stylistically, that was a layup for John Jones. This, stylistically, Curtis Blaydes is the worst. It's a nightmare matchup for John Jones. The wrestling wouldn't be there for John. And then you got to think, okay, what's left? And it's striking. And Curtis Blaydes is a heavyweight striker. And I don't think that John Jones gives him any problems. Listen, I also said the same thing. I said Gane was going to kill John Jones. And I was wrong there. So I'm just going to keep betting against John Jones, which is historically the worst strategy you could probably ever have in mixed martial arts. But I'm going to keep doing it.
Oh, my God. And that is why we love Ben the Bane Davis helping us break down this awesome card. Guys, if you get a chance, like, subscribe, share this around, retweet it, send it to your grandma, go log on to her YouTube, let it play through. We appreciate all the likes, the comments, everything. Let's get this ball rolling. Co-main event.
Man, middleweights, they always bring it, especially a guy like Brad Tavares, who 21 fights inside the UFC. That's ridiculous that this guy's as tenured as he is. And again, really only losing to the best. I mean, Dricus du Plessis, maybe a lot of criticism's been levied against him for some justified reasons, but recent loss, Edmund Shabazian, right? Edmund caught him there. That's when Edmund was great. Israel Adesanya looked down even further. Robert Whitaker, Yoel Romero. Only the best are really beating Brad Tavares, and Tavares beating some really good opponent. Antonio Carlos Jr., Shoeface, went on to win the PFL. Look at Omari Akhmedov, same situation. Guy goes in there and breezes through the PFL at 205 and wins that $1 million paycheck. So he's beating the best in other promotions, and he's only losing to the best in this current one. And I don't rate Bruno Silva all that high. Listen, I like the Bulldog as much as anybody, but his wins are.
It is not the Bulldog. Bruno Bulldog Silva is the bantamweight or flyweight. This is
I was gonna be like, oh no, I've exposed myself. I was like, why did he beat Tyson Nam? I thought Tyson was a much smaller individual. Okay, hold on a sec. We'll
give you a moment. Blindado, listen, against those stats, I definitely would be taking Brad Tavares over Bruno Bulldog Silva. That would be one of those pride matchups that we love to watch over on Fight Pass.
Let's scratch that real quick. We'll remove that from memory. Bruno
no,
Silva.
We have to keep it. That's awesome.
3-2 inside the UFC. Similar situation though. Wins over guys who I wouldn't really put in the best. Jordan Wright, Andrew Sanchez, Wellington Turman. Those guys aren't popping off the page like Brad Tavares' opponents, and he's riding a 2-fight skid. Granted, he survived the onslaught of the former champion Alex Pereira, which was a great fight. I mean, he took some serious shots and walked through it and gave Alex his own, but that lost to GM3.
Tough.
It's a tough one. It makes me not confident in a guy like Bruno Blindado. So I'm going to go with the more tenured individual in Brad Tavares. I think he might get it done by decision, but truthfully, I'm not too married to this co-main event. I don't really care about it.
Yeah, listen, I think you're touching on possibly what might be the best bet of this fight. And it's the fight going the distance, or the over 2.5 at plus 100. I'm not sure why the books are predicting a finish in this spot. Brad Tavares, of his 13 or 14 UFC wins, he's got 11 decision wins, 12 decision wins. He is not a KO artist. That's not his path. And Bruno Silva, sure, he's got 18 KO wins, but and all his wins in the UFC have come by KO, which is interesting. I just think Brad Tavares has showed, while he is chinny, he has showed some durability, and the Dricus du Plessis fight is basically the perfect example of that. Dude is a power puncher. Everybody thought that fight wouldn't go the distance, and it did.
Very close fight. I mean, Tavares went toe to toe. Some people thought that he won that one. So, I will say that is concerning when you look at Blindado's success with the hands. 19 KOs, I believe, out of 22 victories. But I agree, man. Against who? Against fucking who? So over 2.5 at plus 100. I'm with you on that. Let's snatch that up all day long.
That's certainly where I lean, and I think I like Bruno Blindado Silva in this spot. I'm not sure that Brad Tavares is going to be able to put on the pace that he needs, right? You're looking at Bruno Silva. He lands over a strike per minute more at distance, and while also being about 4% more accurate. His defense is still a problem, but again, like I said, Brad Tavares' defense, sure, 61% defense, but he's literally getting knocked down about 1% of the time, which is a very poor number to see over such a large sample size. So Bruno Silva should have the power advantage, could possibly be winning the minutes here. I kind of think it's closer, like maybe even to pick him. So I'm going to take the dog shot here. And I also really like the dog shot on the over 2.5. So, yeah.
You bring up a good point. I mean, all Bruno needs to do is knock him down once a round, which is very doable. Right. We know that power carries. Yes. I mean, Bruno Silva's got to finish in the 4th round of one of his fights on the regional scene. So we know that it carries. If he touches Brad Tavares, he will likely go down. So I like it. I like the over, and I like the shot on Bruno Silva as well.
Yeah, and listen, and Bruno is somebody who got tired in that Gerald Meerschaert fight with all the grappling, and there's gonna be 0 grappling in this fight. So when Bruno Silva has 6 count them 6 career losses by submission, and Brad Tavares has 2 career wins by submission. It's just not his path. So,
I will say this: Brendan Allen submitting. Who did Allen just recently submit?
Oh,
Was
shit.
it? I can't remember the name. Let me look it up
This is
real
TB
quick.
would have. TB literally has the eidetic memory, and he would just be like, "Bam." No,
I think it was Brendan Allen and Andre Muniz.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yes.
again, that was a situation where I didn't see a sub coming, and it came. But I think that it's always wise to trust in the historical, accuracy and again, historically, the path to beat Bruno Silva is not one which Tavares is going to take.
No, you and then again, look at the Alex Pereira fight. What does Alex Pereira have that Brad Tavares doesn't have? I mean, other than insane athleticism, he's got the power. He's got the power.
Yeah.
So and Alex Pereira lands 86 strikes, attempts 151. I would be would like to see Brad land that much. I mean, he hasn't and I don't know if ever. The most he's ever landed is 113 strikes versus Ricky Fukuda. I don't know who that is.
The GOAT, Ricky Fukuda.
Right. I mean, and then it seems like, unless I'm missing it, his second most ever landed, while recent, against Omari Akhmedov, is another guy who is just winging punches and a wrestler. So you're stuffing takedowns, which is what he's good at. So I'm going to take Bruno here, but I'm going to take Bruno. And I like the over 2.5. I really do like that. But if Bruno gets a knockout, I mean, what is Bruno by knockout? Just to be sure, because we've beaten this horse to death, so we got to move on.
Bruno Silva KO. Look at that, plus 215. Not a bad bet. Hey, Bruno Silva by decision, plus 750.
Yeah, wow.
That's an even better one. I mean, we're talking about all the value. 750. Bruno Silva by decision. I think it's worth a stab. I'm going to put a penny on it afterwards.
Don't forget, this is Brad Tavares, a guy that got decisionated by Israel Adesanya. So let's go.
Let's take it down to 155, Guru. We've got Bobby King Green versus Jared Flash Gordon. These guys are some of the most tenured at this weight class, but in terms of success, does line with one Bobby King Green. He's really had a checkered career. A lot of wins, a lot of losses, but always in that top 15 range. Jared Flash Gordon on the other side of the equation. Good, but he's kind of lost when he takes that next step. Every time he tries to break into the top, hasn't necessarily occurred. But coming off of a win against Paddy Pimblett, again, in my opinion, he won that one. So he should be riding a 2-fight win streak coming into this. Bobby Green on the other side, 2-fight skid, but to the champion Islam Makhachev and Drew Dober, who no shame in a loss to Dober. That guy is a freak. So in this fight, I think what we're going to expect to see is a lot of volume, a lot of distance management by Bobby Green. And I think Jared's just going to be a bit too slow. We see the takedowns from him. He does attempt, he does get them, but not not against the highest opponents, and not frequently enough to ground and stop a guy like Bobby Green. So we'll see. I mean, I think Green by decision. How many decision wins does he have? He's got 11 decision wins. Yeah, I think we're going to see it 12.
So that's the interesting thing about Bobby Green, right? He's got, like you said, he's got 10 decision wins or 11 decision wins, but 8 decision losses.
I'm looking at that right now as well. Yeah,
he's live by the sword, die by the sword.
Yeah.
So Bobby Green at minus 250 to me seems a little steep. If to play minus 250, you need a finish, because in my opinion, you do. If you want somebody to win, over 63% of the time, you need to be banking on a finish, and because we've seen what these judges do. They ruin fighters' careers. They throw trajectories up. Look at the Lucy Padova fight. I mean, I'm really trying to be as level-headed as possible with close fights and don't call it a robbery if it could go either way. Bro, come on. That's her fight. So you see somebody like Bobby Green, and who's time and time again fought these close decisions where, what was the split? He had a couple split decision losses, right? Who he had one to, was it, my fucking Tapology didn't load up. Was it?
I don't know which one. Who? Bobby Green or Gordon?
Yeah, Bobby Green. Was to
Lando Venata was a split draw.
Yeah,
Rashid
Lando
Magomedov,
Venata. He
split
had
decision loss.
oh, that was the one. It wasn't a split. It was somehow was unanimous. The Thiago Moises one, that was a close fight too. He's just had a ton of them. Fights with Jakar Close, fight with Francisco Trinaldo. I mean, these are guys that you would want him to outpace and beat, and he doesn't. And you actually look at these striking stats, and you think of something like, yeah, it's a little similar. And with Jared Gordon with a decent pace and a higher accuracy, 4% more accurate, landing a little bit less than a strike more per minute. Obviously spending way less time at distance, 74% to 47%. But Jared Gordon with 39% control rate, he's the one that's going to be willing to mix up the wrestling. He's the one that you saw in the Paddy Pimblett fight. He's going to be willing to hold you against the clinch, against the cage in the clinch. So at plus 210, Jared Gordon to me is sneaky. I kind of just like a fight to be the split decision prop in general at plus 400, fight to be split or majority decision. I kind of like that. I don't know that to your point, Bobby Green should absolutely have the speed advantage here. Like, he should win. It's just you can't trust him.
This is the narrative. We're saying should a ton. On paper, it looks quite close, but when we're watching a guy like King Bobby Green fight, he should stylistically just dance all over Jared Gordon. But this is a narrative of a guy in Bobby Green who I think we're coming to realize fights at his opponent's level. Some people do this. They fight down or they fight up. And a guy in Bobby Green at minus 250, when he is fluctuating seemingly in ability, skill, implementation inside the octagon, minus 250 is far too steep for a guy who fights at the level of his opponent. And Jared Gordon, listen, he got unlucky last time out with the judges. If it hits the scorecards this time around, listen, he's got 11 decision wins in his own right. So he's not too unfamiliar with getting it done via, the conclusion of a 15-minute affair. And at plus 210, yeah, I think it's worth it. And Jared Gordon by decision, guess what that is, Guru? Plus 350. So even if you want to put some pennies on that majority split decision prop at plus 4, you could just do Gordon by decision and get plus 350. Not a bad price in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's a fight, again, I think you're just priced out on in terms of if you want to play Bobby Green. You can't really play Bobby Green minus 250. You can't play Bobby Green by decision at minus 110. And you can't play the over in this fight at minus 265. So you got to get sneaky. You got to get cute. And that's where I think the split decision prop is interesting. And that's where I think, like you said, Jared Gordon, even by decision, you just take that the whole way. And maybe you hope that Jared Gordon, it comes out with a fire under his ass, and or maybe we just get some lucky judging. But so what's the deal when we're gonna move on? Bobby wants to change his name to King. He just wants to be King Green. Have you read this? Have you heard about this?
I saw, he showed up to media day with 60 grand and is talking about changing his, legal name and identification. So that speaks to another thing, which is these guys outside the octagon. What are they doing?
What does he do?
Are they focused on the fight? Are they, spending their time elsewhere? We've seen that injured guys like Conor McGregor and their effectiveness, when they do return to combat. And maybe Bobby Green's just thinking too much about changing the name and not enough about his opponent, Jared Gordon, and what Gordon's going to bring to the table. So, yeah, I think we've steamed this one enough. Plus 210 on Gordon. I don't hate it. I like it, especially coming off of a tough robbery. I'm going to use that term. I don't like using it frequently, but I'm going to use it and apply it here. Being robbed by Paddy Pimblett. He's going to come in here looking to make a bit more of a definitive fight, in my opinion. So it's definitely worth it.
And anybody calling for him to pull back the shades of him knocking out Ally Aquinta at UFC 268, need I remind you that Ally Aquinta was like 3 feet out the door at that point. Like, he was like, I think he was just fulfilling his contract.
He wasn't in the building, bro. He was not in the building. He was down the street, not just out the door. And again, that was like the first finish that he'd had in how many years? I'm looking back, 2013. James Krause, funnily enough. Didn't know we'd have a James Krause appearance today. But it was like a decade in difference between the Ally Aquinta finish. So he's not going to finish him. So like you said, at the price, you need a stoppage, and he's not going to get one.
No. So that's I certainly agree with that. So we're gonna move along. Dude, look, 30. Look at how much control time he's had over the course of his career, man. I think he might imagine he put some wrestling in on Bobby Green, starts holding him a little bit, you may not, the judges may not know how to score this shit. So
might not know. And it's what this one's at the Apex, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
Listen, Vegas judges you'd think know a little bit more, but I don't know. I don't know what they're doing.
Either way. Flyweight bout up next between largely, I don't want to say untested necessarily, but Yasmin Lucindo, 21 years of age, against Brogan Walker, who is a 13-year elder, but doesn't have as many fights, funnily enough. So when I say untested, I guess Brogan's the more untested individual inside the cage. You can see in terms of height and reach, largely even, so no physical advantages either way. I believe both women have only had one fight inside the UFC apiece. So when we talk about operating at this level, neither has really done it. It's not a lot of knowledge. So I don't, to keep it short and sweet, I don't give a fuck about this. I guess I'm going to go with Yasmin.
Listen, I could see how the odds would get you there, and I really don't blame you. I think, again, this is a fight that you kind of get priced out of due to the line being minus 330. Yasmin Lucindo coming off a loss to Yasmin Oregi, but we've seen Oregi fight. I mean, she is all that in a bag of chips. She's somebody that is on the short list of prospects in her division, and Yasmin Lucindo is somebody that held her own in that fight. If we look up the stats, she actually outlands Yasmin by 15 strikes there. I'm not bad at math. I'm rounding. I don't think it's 15.
It's okay. It was close.
It's close enough. And yeah, she's the one trying to shoot for takedowns, and it's a really close fight that Oregi gets done. And she showed some real skill in that USA debut. She got the nice body lock takedown, decent top control and pressure. She likes to grapple. She's comfortable switching stances. She'll bounce on her toes, and she's very willing to brawl. And I think that's something that's very interesting for somebody in Brogan Walker, who, as she came out during fight week this week to say, like, she just had a very off night versus Juliana Miller. And you absolutely saw that she got completely steamrolled by Miller. Maybe not in the striking department, because as we've seen, Miller is not even necessarily the best striker, outlanding her by 3 strikes. But the problem is she was completely unable to unable to stop the takedowns and unable to get her own wrestling game going. You would hope that Brogan Walker, the wrestler, would be able to get it down, and she wasn't. And she not only was not able to, she was not able to get up. There was a problem giving up 580 seconds of control time. I don't know what that is in minutes, but it's very high.
Something in the neighborhood of, let's 580
divided. So 6. Well, it would be like almost 9 minutes. Yeah, so 10 minutes would be 600. Damn, look at us doing math. All right. Listen, I barely passed math. But
but no, you look at like Lucindo attempting 2 takedowns against Yasmin, not getting them. But in the event that she tries those takedowns against Brogan Walker, I would imagine she does complete it and gets Brogan to the mat and probably works, the control time and ground strikes. And losing to Juliana Miller has aged so poorly. That really is, it's a tough loss to have. And not to discredit Veronica Hardy, who looked impeccable. But yeah, I mean, Juliana Miller did not come to play in that fight. And of course, Brogan losing just ages even worse. So yeah, I'm not betting on this one. It's too
Listen,
deep.
I got a number for you to call if you're betting this fight. It's called 1-800-GAMBLER. Please seek help. It's okay. It's okay to seek help. We nobody here judges you. Yeah, I don't necessarily love a dog shot. It's not really founded on anything. Maybe you get lucky. Maybe the brawler nature of Lucindo backfires against her, and you cash a dog ticket. Lucindo, listen, that is the one thing that maybe is interesting. Lucindo has 8 career wins by KO. Lucindo by KO is plus 330. I think that's maybe just a mistake. Mushroom in the house. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Shout out the chat. TB's usually the one running the chat. So shout out to the guys in the chat commenting on all the fights that we've got going on. Mushroom in the chat. Good to see you. Daz in the chat. Somebody named TB Scouting MMA, I don't know who that is, said that he had no idea that we changed the times. That's funny. Appreciate you, bud. Hope you're enjoying. Let's
What's up, Mushroom?
Mushroom, always good to hear from you, my friend. I think again that this is one of those fights that we beat pretty good. Kind of stay away from it. I like Lucindo by KO with our patented grandma's couch cushion type play. You dig in there. She's not going to notice that change is missing, and you hope that maybe Lucindo just steamrollers her. So
at minus 330, it's what's expected. But at the risk of sounding maybe non-PC, anticipating a stoppage in women's fights maybe isn't exactly the best strategy. A lot of those go to the scorecards or at least over. So for me, I would just stay away from this one. Maybe put it in a parlay, right? Maybe just puff a parlay up with Lucindo. But again,
you do love
risky.
Those parlays.
I do love those parlays. I love losing money. I absolutely am infatuated with losing money and burning through my bankroll. If you follow any of my picks, you should kill yourself. You should actually commit suicide because I am the worst. I'm the worst bettor I know. I'm the worst bettor. I don't know why. I don't know why people invite me on their betting shows. I'm not good at it.
That's horrible. Jesus, please listen. If you're feeling down, please reach out for help.
Do it.
Don't do
that. Fucking do it.
Oh my goodness. Listen, you get to turn that minus 330 in Lucindo to a plus 330 with a KO, and all you got to do is hope for some violence, baby. So that's the type of violence I will project onto people.
Talking about violence, this next one up between Jeremiah Wells and Matt Semmelsberger. Yes. I don't see this going to the scorecards, in my opinion. You've got a guy in Jeremiah Wells who has 5 KO wins inside of 11 victories. Semi the Jedi, 6 KOs inside 11 wins. And a KO loss, right? So he's been cracked, and he's cracked others. So
what am I calling an egg?
I'm gonna the under 1.5 is tempting, but a lot of these KOs have come maybe in round 2, round 3 for Semmelsberger. Jeremiah Wells, I'm seeing a couple round 2s in his KO history. So I don't know about the under 1.5. It's tempting, but honestly, it's a pick 'em for a reason. This is quite evenly matched on both sides. I've been impressed by Jeremiah Wells, right? Back-to-back first-round finishes over Court McGee and Blood Diamond. Blood Diamond, I don't know why he's fighting in the UFC. It's one of those situations where
is he still contractually with the UFC?
I don't know. I think so.
I guess that Izzy's champ, he's probably back.
He's probably still there. But I will say this, Semmelsberger coming off of a big upset of Jake Matthews, right? This was a fight where he was plus 240, came in there. I was big on the Celtic Kid. I mean, Jake Matthews looked excellent. He just dispatched Andre Fialho, and Semmelsberger outworked him. Semmelsberger just did what he needed to do to find his way into a decision victory. Now he's 3-1 in his last 4. I think this is a great spot for Semmelsberger. So I'm gonna be a little crazy. I'm gonna go with Semi the Jedi.
Listen, I happen to love that pick for a multitude of reasons, and I'm gonna start rattling them off for you. Are you ready? Semmelsberger is the more active fighter. He fought just 4 or 5 months ago. Court McGee, he knocked out Court McGee over a year ago, a year and 2 months. That fight lasted 90 seconds. Where you been, bro? What's up? Why haven't you been active? Where are you?
You were so bad at math. Hold on a second. No, it wasn't a year. He knocked him out in June of 2022. It's been about 10 months.
10 months. Oh my God. So I looked at the number wrong. I thought
what the fuck are we in?
No. I thought
it said speed us up by 4 months.
I thought it said he knocked him out in March and not June. My bad, yo. Sheesh.
Point still stands.
Where are you been, bro? He didn't take any damage. 10 months to take care of court. Like, where have you been? And Jeremiah Wells, while he may be new to us, he is not new on planet Earth. He is 5 years older than Semmelsberger, while being 4 inches shorter and being at a reach disadvantage. One thing that is interesting about Wells is I have no idea how he's going to look after the first 5 minutes. Semmelsberger has shown a lot in his UFC tenure because he's fought fairly high-level competition, fighting Chaos Williams, fighting Alex Morono, and Jake Matthews. So, and listen, I got in early. I saw the line starting to shift. I got the last piece, the last taste of Semmelsberger plus 100. So I got a little plus money on Semmelsberger. I think if this fight gets out of, and by the way, I like the over 1.5. If the fight gets out of round 1, you've got a fantastic chance on cashing your Semmelsberger ticket. Wells, while he will have the power and wrestling advantage, he will not have the size advantage and he will not have the cardio advantage. So I don't mind. Listen, if you're gonna play Wells, you gotta play him like maybe like a finish only type situation, right? Because I'm just not sure if you really have much equity in him if the fight extends out. So
I will combat you a little bit on this. I'll give you a little bit of pushback. Jeremiah Wells does have 1, 2, 3, 4 finishes in his pro career that eclipse round number 1. So it does carry. He has gotten it done past the first round. And, he's won several decisions, right? He's won two decisions, lost 2 decisions. So he has gone to the scorecards and been successful. 4 subs as well. I mean, as Anthony just mentioned, he's a Gracie BJJ black belt. We haven't seen Semmelsberger really go toe-to-toe with a guy who's equipped with that kind of grappling pedigree. Alex Morono is definitely a guy who's really well-rounded everywhere, but Chaos Williams, Jake Matthews, these guys are going to strike with you. So I think that does present some problems, but I'm still sticking with Semi because the one stat that we got to take a look at before we head into the prelims is 7 knockdowns to 2. Semmelsberger, when he touches people, they fucking die. He's got 2 finishes, like literally 15 seconds into round 1, 16 seconds into round 1. These are dispatching performances. They are lightning quick, thunderous right hands. So I think what's going to happen is either Jeremiah Wells gets nuked early or he gets nuked later. I think Matt Semmelsberger takes his soul. This is going to be the first fight where, unfortunately for all my Jeremiah Wells backers, this is going to get stopped. First time in his career it's going to happen, but he's going to get stopped.
Wow. Listen, that's interesting, man. Semmelsberger by KO plus 275, Wells by KO plus 330. Wow.
What is Wells by sub? What is Wells by submission?
Wells by submission also plus 330. So if you're taking Wells, you take Wells by finish at plus 150. Otherwise, both these guys by finish. I don't know what it is for Semmelsberger, but yeah, I mean, if you're getting plus odds, it's their best equity. We talked about where the value is. I don't think it's going to the score. So how about go? So maybe you instead of taking your pick'em on a side, how would you like your pick'em fight doesn't start round 3 minus 115?
There you go.
Is that something you like? Because you like violence within the first 2 rounds.
I like that. It's covered.
Calling your shot. Be Babe Ruth. Call your shot, boy. Call your shot.
Hey. Right here, baby, right here. Throw me that fastball. Boom! It's in the uprights.
Lollipop,
it's in the uprights.
Lollipop. Let's go. Moving right along.
Let's take it to the prelims. Right at the top of the prelims, we've got Rick Glenn, the gladiator himself, Big Rick, and Christos Yagos, the Spartan. 19-10 for Yagos.
Wait. Hang on. No, I'm sorry. Did you just tell me we have the gladiator fighting the Spartan?
This is a very Roman Greek history story that we're seeing play out here. I mean, this is something that you're going to get in Deadliest Warrior, not necessarily.
Hang on. I love that show. Nobody remembers that show. That show is fucking amazing. Stop.
Dude, we've had
core memory unlocked.
Dude, 100%. We've had a James Krause shout out on the stream, and now a Deadliest Warrior appearance. This is going great, man. But no, it's what we're going to see: a 33-year-old versus a 34-year-old. A lot of KOs for Ricky Glenn, 11 finishes via that method. On the flip side, Christos Yagos, 7 KOs, 4 subs, but he's also been stopped 7 times in his career. So it's kind of like a do or die. Or no, it's a kill or be killed mentality. Apologies for both gentlemen. So I don't know. I'm kind of split on this one. I'm gonna toss it to you, Guru. What's your takeaway from Glenn and Yagos here?
This fight is fucking wild. Again, where have these guys been? I'll tell you where they've been. I've done a little background research. Listen, shout out to Blood Money MMA Bets. Somebody that is just absolutely popping on Twitter, a really nice guy. And literally somebody who's unbelievably transparent with his bets, puts about 5 out a week for free, all of them, and then tells you how he did.
Got a sweep, dude. He got a sweep last event, I believe.
Dude,
Kansas City, 5-0 or 6-0.
Yeah,
and I was like,
dude, I like $2,000 or some shit. I'm like, okay, dude, do your thing, do your thing, bro. We're gonna have to have him on the show soon because he's just out here doing work.
He'd be a better guest than me.
No, come on. Listen,
he would be. Hold on. I mean, he'd bring more value. At least he's got a winning record.
Oh my goodness. Listen, Ben, we it's not all about the money. You've got the swag, you've got the charisma, you're setting the table, and you're touching on some of the important things, right? You're talking about semi by finish, man. You're calling your shots, man. You know what the fuck is up. So come on, man. Give yourself a little credit. We're happy. Listen, let's go. Absolutely right. This fight, see, that's what I'm saying. You're the most entertaining dude in the game. You're doing it. I don't
disagree with you there, but I will contest that if you are looking to make money again, listen to anybody but me.
So that's a wonderful way to transition into the fact that Ben will be opening up his Patreon for bets. You can go tell him there, pay for his paid
club.
Right.
I'll be
$150 a month.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Listen, you've got the Gladiator versus the Spartan. Where have these guys been? Let me tell you. So Ricky Glenn had to pull out in March 2022. He was supposed to fight Drew Dober, which is they're like, I guess, fuck you, Ricky Glenn. And he tore his groin. So
nice.
He has nice. So we haven't seen him in like a year and a half. So that's not great, since his majority draw versus Grant Dawson.
I mean, if there's any guy that you want to pull a draw with, it'd probably be Grant Dawson. Dawson's a very talented fighter. And again, you look through Ricky Glenn's history, this is an individual who had a first stint in the UFC, didn't really go his way necessarily, came back on The Ultimate Fighter, made it to the finale, did lose. But again, he's a 10-year guy at this level, as is Christos Giagos, who's been fighting in the promotion since 2018. His debut, Charles Oliveira. Right, so these guys are high level. I know we might expecting a boring decision victory. You can see Giagos. He's going to try and get some takedowns. He's going to try and get some control time. But these are high level individuals, in my opinion. Yeah. So I don't know about it, but that over 2.5 at -175 is kind of speaking my language when it comes to this lightweight prelim featured ballot.
I don't like it. I don't like it, and here's why. Christos Giagos is chinny. He's low fight IQ. He's got some of the worst defensive grappling I've seen. He's got 5 losses by submission, and that's not great, especially when he's got 4 wins by submission himself. You look at somebody like Ricky Glenn, who is basically through and through kickboxer, 11 KO wins. They both have the same number of submission attempts in the UFC with 3. Like that's not good if you're Christos Giagos, especially if you're attempting 7 takedowns per 15 minutes. Like, what the fuck are you doing with these takedowns then if you're not doing submission attempts?
High level. They're high level guys.
He's achieving them at a high level.
These are high level. No, you bring up a great point. And again, Ricky Glenn, 5 submission wins. Giagos, those 5 submission losses. So,
listen, calling Ricky Glenn by submission would be fucking crazy, because Ricky Glenn by submission, by the way, is +800. Like, that's fucking nuts. But what I do like is Ricky Glenn by finish in general. Why can't he KO Christos Giagos, who, again, gets his backpack? Let's not even talk about Thiago Moises' fight, which Moises takes his back within 30 seconds. Arman Sarukian, losing to Arman Sarukian, sure, that's not a bad loss by any means, maybe the uncrowned champion. And obviously you got a rematch versus Islam Makhachev. That would be unbelievable. They want that fight. And, you watch the Sean Soriano fight. Sean Soriano is clipping him. He's rocked. He's hurt. He's on skates. But Sean Soriano is somebody else with absolutely horrible defensive grappling. His one big way to lose is by submission, so he gets Darce choked.
I will say this: Christos Giagos, when you really look at the submissions again, or rather the stoppage losses, it's good guys. I mean, Moises, Sarukian, Charles Oliveira choking him out. No shame there. You go even further. Josh Emmett punched him out in round 3. A guy like Josh Emmett. Gilbert Burns. Yeah, like I get that there is some serious criticism that you can levy against Giagos and his durability, maybe, but you gotta be a pretty elite motherfucker to finish Christos Giagos.
Listen, you know what? I think that's actually fair. I just feel like that threshold has gotten lower and lower, especially after watching the Thiago Moises fight. Which then again, I meant to talk about that. Where has he been? That Thiago Moises fight was, let's get my math right, 10 months ago. Where have you been, Christos Giagos? Well, he was supposed to fight Benoit Saint Denis in UFC Paris, but he had a, quote, freak hand injury where he gashed his hand on a broken toilet and needed minor surgery to reattach his pinky tendon. So, is he throwing punches? How's his hand feeling? Point being, these guys are old after a long layoff with injury. What the fuck?
High level.
Yeah. UFC, shout out to Dan Tom, ultimate filler content. We're just getting fights here. I don't mind it. I kind of like a finish in general, especially maybe just under 2.5 plus 140. Maybe one of these guys gets it done. Why not just sit there and root for some violence? Because we love violence. I don't necessarily have the best handicap on this fight.
Yeah, again, I'm not exactly.
Look at their accuracy and defense. They're exactly the same. 33 and 37, 58 and 50. I mean, they're so similar.
So under 2.5 plus 140? Take a stab there. Maybe that's not bad.
In the Apex smaller cage, somebody does something stupid. And, Ricky Glenn, I kind of lean by KO, which they have at minus 150. Oh, no, that's just kidding. I'm sorry, plus 330.
I was going to be like, what the fuck?
No, it was that was Ricky Glenn KO or decision minus 150. Ricky Glenn by KO plus 330. I like it.
Yeah, I like that.
That's why I lean. So let's get it popping.
Talking about pop, I mean, there's no more exciting fighter in the UFC than Ronnie Yahya, in my opinion. This guy was supposed to get his first career KO victory against Cody Garbrandt in 2022. Unfortunately, both of those bouts never materialized, so he was rewarded with Montel Quick Jackson. I mean, Montel Jackson needs no introduction necessarily. He's been on a really good run so far in the UFC. His only loss in the last 4 or 5 years is Brett Johns, who is a really well-accredited guy over in Bellator, I believe. Let me yank that up real quick. Yeah, really well-accredited guy in Bellator. So I think that this is a bad matchup for Ronnie Yahya, who, to give him some respect, he's on a 2-fight win streak, one against Kyung Ho Kang and Ray Rodriguez. That Rodriguez fight, he got a second-round submission, that arm triangle, which brought him up to 21 career subs. 21 career subs. It's almost worth sprinkling Yahya by submission or just sprinkling Yahya at plus 430. I know that he's at every disadvantage possible. He is quite literally, I mean, listen, he's been knocked down 3 times. Montel Jackson's got 9 knockdowns so far. So you can sort of see how this fight's going to play out, but it would be really funny if Ronnie Yahya won. And that's why I'm picking him, is because it's funny.
That's certainly one way to handicap a fight. Just whatever's most entertaining from
hilarious.
Your standpoint. It would be fucking hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. The bookmakers are obviously calling their shot with this fight. Minus 560 on Montel Jackson, heavily favored. You kind of understand why. He's 8 years younger. He's got a 4-inch height advantage, a nearly 10-inch reach advantage, which is insane. Don't listen to what the girls say. Size does matter. Every inch matters. So you gotta, when you're 8 inches, man. I mean, come on, that matters, bro. That's a big deal. That's a big deal for Montel Jackson. Problem for him I've seen is that he really doesn't utilize his reach advantage like that. He doesn't fight behind the jab as well as he should, and you saw that in his last outing. Versus who did he fight? It was
last time he fought Julio Arce.
Exactly, Julio Arce. Guy that he could have finished multiple times, and doesn't take that next step. Right, 9 knockdowns, but only has 1 UFC KO, 3 decisions. So what are you doing with all those knockdowns? Not finishing your opponent, not going that extra mile to go get a finish. And I'm not sure why he does that. So my funny way to play this fight is to fade the narrative, like you said, just not as heavy. Ronnie Yaya is not winning this fight, but how
you don't
funny,
know that.
but how funny would it be if everybody and their grandma bet Montel Jackson by finish, bet Montel Jackson by KO, and he won a decision? How funny would that be?
I think, Montel Jackson at plus 240 by decision. Not a bad look. Not a bad look. And you think about it this way, man. He's allowing 3 takedowns per 15 minutes. Yaya's attempting, or he's landing almost 3 takedowns. So you could see a bit more grappling, stalls it out. And Blood Money MMA Bets just brought up something that I was going to bring up. It's hard to finish Ronnie Yaya. I know that the age and his appearance leads you to believe, oh, this guy's easy to get out of there. But again, last time he was finished was all the way back to Joseph Benavidez in 2009, right? Ricky Simon couldn't finish him. Joe Soto couldn't finish him. Chad fucking Mendez couldn't finish him. So I don't know. I like that Jackson by decision look. And again, I want to emphasize this one more time. Ronnie Yaya should be coming off of a devastating KO win over Cody Garbrandt.
He should be getting a title shot.
Yaya versus Aljamain Sterling would be an amazing fight. I don't give a fuck who you are. I would watch that any day that ends in Y.
Absolutely.
That's every day, in case you were counting.
Listen, it is absolutely true that Ronnie Yaya is the uncrowned king of the bantamweight division. He is the dark horse in that division. He took the crown from Arnold Allen, and
listen, Yaya's got a lot of tread left on the tires. At 38, he's a young buck. I think we've got at least another 20 years of Ronnie Yaya.
He's a Volvo. He's just getting going.
It's just 38 fights into his career. Just getting going. We have not seen the best of Ronnie Yaya. That's all I'm going to say.
He's 38 and had 38 fights. Come on. Ronnie Yaya by submission plus 900. Get it. 23 submission attempts in his UFC career. Could you imagine? Could you imagine the scenes? Could you imagine the scenes inside the Apex? All 12 people cheering.
Dude, I mean, 12's pushing it. Maybe 8.
No, I was counting his 4 cornermen.
That's true. That's fair. Yeah, slap those guys in there. No, I genuinely think that it's a very juiced line. And Montel Jackson should easily have so much success. But guys, it's hard to bet against Ronnie fucking Yaya. So I don't know. I mean, I genuinely am going to bet. I'm going to bet him. And I hope he wins.
I love it. I really do love it. Might as well waste some money. The fight that everybody's been waiting for us to break down. They're flocking to the stream now.
Chomping at the bit for this women's featherweight. I mean, when we talk about stacked divisions, women's featherweight is the first one that comes to mind. I mean, I'm rushing to the rankings every time there's an update on WFW. But we're talking about dump trucks here. Norma Dumont, 32 years of age, 8 career wins, 2 losses. You could already see just where the juice is. Minus 355 and over 2.5.
Is it in her badonkadonk?
Yeah, it's talk about boy. With all due respect, no, but it's gonna go the distance. I think that Dumont's gonna snag a decision victory. That's plus 120 on DraftKings in case you were curious. Carol Rocha, good fighter, but I genuinely, I mean, Guru, you can tell there's fights that I care about and there's fights that I really don't have too much interest in. This does fall into that category.
Can we quickly say that TB picked a wonderful week to just not be? I mean, what are we doing right now? This is crazy. Carol,
it gets even worse. We're not even out of the woods of fights that you're gonna hear me go, oh, okay. But
listen, dude, and that's why we appreciate you so much for joining us, Bane, taking your hard-earned time, spending it with us, futzing around here. Hopefully we get a couple retweets out of you. Need those 20,000 followers checking in with us here. But listen, man, we got Carol Rocha moving up 10 pounds to fight Norma Dumont, one of, I guess, three fighters left in the featherweight division. There's really nobody there at all. So I get, Carol Rocha young enough at 28. Maybe just let's see what it's like not to cut weight and go fight. I'm not sure why she made this move. you'd like to see her get a takedown maybe on Norma Dumont and hold her down. You've seen Norma Dumont struggle with top control, specifically with Aspen Ladd and with Macy Chiasson. So I'd like to see Cara Hossa try to exploit that avenue. Yeah, I mean, she's going to be a 2-inch height height disadvantage, but a half-inch reach advantage. So I'm again just interested to see kind of how that plays out. Fights juice to the tits in terms of going the distance.
I'll say
And
this:
for
my
right reason.
prediction. Yeah, I think Ronnie Yaya is going to come in with a steel chair and cash in the Money in the Bank. I think that's what's going to happen here in this women's featherweight bout. He's going to be hiding under the octagon, and right as the buzzer's about to sound, he's going to pop out and just slam both women with a steel chair, hit a swanton bomb on Norma Dumont's ass, and then be proclaimed the victor.
Wait, what? A swanton bomb?
I was looking at your reaction, just like, I'm gonna see when he notices what the fuck I'm saying. Either way, yeah, this is what a fun fight we have here.
Yeah, and again, dude, thank you so much for coming on the chat.
Dude, that was so much fun. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, right. Listen, they called me in early for work. I gotta go.
Thanks for having
me. Yeah. See you never.
they just bet on Yaya, all right? I'll see you later. Oh,
he just snatched the knee. He snatched the leg. He's going for the ankle pick. Listen, I don't. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like any of it. How about we go fight to be a split decision at plus 350 and we move along? Nope, you're muted. Nope, they banned you from the chat for leaving. I don't know what's happening. Still,
hello?
There you are. You're back. You're back. Don't worry. Welcome back. Excellent. So we're going to move along with this one. I kind of like maybe even a yam bag plop. Shout out to Lou. Maybe you just bet on somebody to get a point deduction or something stupid. But another wonderful, absolutely talented fight here. Please tee this up for us. The brothers.
Yeah, man, Muhammad Usman, the much more talented brother of former champion Kamaru Usman, makes his second UFC appearance against another brother of a fighter we've seen. Of course, Justin Tafa's much more handsome brother, Junior Tafa, makes the debut.
They literally look exactly the same.
I don't discriminate. 8 years separate these two gentlemen. Muhammad being the older one at 34, Junior Tafa just breaking into the mid-20s. You can see big experience differential with Usman having 10 career fights. Tafa just under the midway point at 4. Not a lot to really dissect here, in my opinion. I mean, it's gonna be a fun fight. I think. I really am unsure how to bet this one. I'd want to go with Usman.
Fun.
Right, yeah, it's like, but I don't have a definition. I can't put a definition on fun. No, I mean, it's going to be a heavyweight slugfest, either a quick finish or it's going to be the most boring clinch fest that we've seen since Ngannou and Derek Lewis, in my opinion.
Now, my friend, you're touching on something interesting. And this, my friend Ben, is where we actually start to try to make these fights a little bit more interesting when you have such, like you said, such talented fighters. Why would you need to make the fight more interesting? But don't worry, we find a way to do it. I like the over 1.5 minus 125. Look at Muhammad Usman. That man is landing one strike and absorbing 5. He's standing there and not throwing any punches at all. It's really, I mean, what did he land? He landed 9 strikes for Zach Pauga. The 9th one knocked him out. So, great job, dude. But like not ideal if you're looking to create real
a quick finish. I mean,
and win a fight. Exactly. And then you have a guy making his UFC debut in Junior Tafa, who has a kickboxing background, and he's had plenty of fights go the decision in kickboxing. I'm not even sure. First off, I couldn't even really find his too much of his MMA tape, if I'm just being fully transparent. So I didn't get to see too much of Junior, but he's a kickboxer. So Junior should probably win the moments, just kind of being willing to strike. But if you're throwing kicks and Usman decides to wrestle, you're gonna go to the mat. And I just don't think that Usman's gonna do anything when he gets there. I think he's just gonna lay on top of him and try to hold him down. So my bet is this very silly fight to be a slop fest. Give me over 1.5 at -125. And let's hope for like a little bit of a boring fight there.
I mean, you think about maybe the octagon jitters as well of Junior Taffa making the debut so young in his mixed martial arts career. I don't know. Usman by decision plus 450, Taffa by decision plus 600. I like those significantly better than anything we're seeing on the screen.
Are you sure? Listen, Michael Litteris is in the chat, and of course,
oh my God, Michael Litteris.
And he's looking for TB. Listen, TB has been looking for you his whole life, my friend. So it is amazing that you are now the one looking for him.
I like to think that his profile picture isn't actually a photo of whoever this guy is, and it's just a random guy that he downloaded.
I really hope it's actually him. That's really funny. Michael Litter is in the building. B-side little brother fight. Yes, Mushroom. Thanks so much for that, brother. Yeah, I'm hoping for a slop fest, and I may even take this opportunity to do a little stacking. Over 1.5, fight to start round 2. Fight to start round 3, and fight to go the distance at plus 225. So you do a little stacking each way, and all of a sudden you can make a lot of money. And I'm glad you found that funny, bud, because I thought I did too. So we're gonna move along, right? You're good on this one, my friend.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have any opinions on it before we broke it down. I still don't have any opinions on it afterwards.
Excellent. Love to hear it. Now, I cannot wait to hear how you tee up this one.
Man, Francis Fire Marshall 7-0 with a big second round stoppage of Marcelo Rojo in December of 2022. He starts the 2023 campaign against the Jaguar William Gomez. Gomez, has been a bit inactive, right? September of 2022 was his last fight. He got a majority decision against Jarno Aarons. When you analyze the careers, right? Again, the strength of schedule of both guys, I'd have to say that Francis Marshall has had a tougher couple tests. The Contender Series prospect has been unblemished in both his pro and amateur career. Couple of first round stoppages in there, but overall 5 finishes inside 7 victories. William Gomez, if I recall correctly, really was having a tough time against Jarno Aarons. Maybe that's incorrect, but
he had a decent enough 2 rounds with a significant amount of top control, as you see there. But when it came to round 3, he could not stop putting himself in submission attempts, and it turned to a point where one of the judges actually gave Aarons the fight. So it was, I believe, a majority decision win. So not somebody who, again, with me had like dominant 2 rounds of control, still not winning it on all 3 judges' scorecards.
I will say, when we look at distance, look at those striking stats, right? 20 strikes at distance for Marshall to less than 10 for Gomez.
Very small sample size.
Definitely small sample size for sure. And when you look at the accuracy and those percentages, right? William Gomez does seem to get better, but yeah, I don't care about this fight.
Listen, this is
I'm sorry.
This is a very tough fight. And listen, you see Francis Marshall landed only 15 of his 72 strikes attempted, which would give you that 20% accuracy. But
not good.
As you saw versus Marcelo Rojo, he just needs to touch you. And Marcelo went out. And that's a really interesting way for that to happen. William Gomez is somebody who I've been trying to watch a lot of tape on today. 6 wins by KO. I really don't think I've seen a fighter with as many wins by KO as he has while being so adverse to boxing. He likes to kick and he likes to have top control. And that's where his KOs have come from. They've come from him being on top with top control. Francis Marshall is young, scrappy, more athletic. While he won't have the height advantage or necessarily the size advantage, I just think that he has shown, like, again, athletic takedown defense and ability to scramble, and has all the finishing upside. So I think if you like Gomez, I think you take like a finish, a decision only type play where you can get decision only on Gomez at plus 150, because I kind of like Marshall to get a finish here. I think he's really tough, and he's quite scrappy, man. And Gomez is somebody that keeps his hands down and just kind of pulls back. He could easily get clipped. So yeah, and you know, Gomez is somebody that has lost by submission before. So Francis Marshall, somebody who's undefeated, and at least the trend that we've seen lately, these undefeated prospects are not losing their first fights by finish. They're generally losing them by decision. So I think if you like Gomez, you're playing a Gomez decision only. Otherwise, I like Francis Marshall by finish.
I want to bring up one of William Gomez's prior opponents. Just saying the name here, Baba Bunju Nanjobi.
I watched that fight.
Yeah, how did Baba do?
But he did not do that well.
He got subbed in 73 seconds, so I don't think he did too.
He
fantastic.
he was like kind of going in for a takedown, but he was against the cage, and the dude just choked him out. And he was like really upset that he let it happen.
Not Baba Bunju Nanjobi.
That was really good.
Oh man, that's
we have fun. Right, we have fun. We have fun here.
We're heading back up to the women's, down women's flyweights. Priscilla Cachoeira, or as I like to call her, Miss Eye Gouge, taking on Corrine Silva. A lot of experience between these two females. 12-4 for Priscilla, 15-4 for Silva. Striking stats largely similar, right? Except for opponent pace at distance. Big differential right there. You can see that Priscilla Cachoeira is quite literally just a punching bag. But
Priscilla catch a beating.
That's good. That's good.
Listen, TB, I'm not the only one that can come up with nicknames, all right? You're not the only one. There's another one in this house.
Put some respect on Guru.
Let's go.
I will say, with the biggest storyline here, though, is going to be the grappling. I think that Corrine Silva, the path to victory is going to be paved with takedown attempts, control time, and wearing out Priscilla Cachoeira. We've seen kind of what beats Priscilla on numerous occasions. And it's really funny if you look up on Google, her name's not there. Maybe it's a malfunction with my computer, but there is no Priscilla Cachoeira.
Hey, did you spell it correctly? Priscilla?
No, it was, if you just Google UFC and then go to Fight Night Pavlovich and Blaydes and go to
it's not listed there.
She's not even there. She doesn't exist. Corrine Silva's fighting she's fighting a ghost.
Jesus
no,
Christ.
again, this fight falls into a category of one that I really am okay not watching. I don't respectfully.
Are you going to be watching the fights this week? Are you calling the fights this week?
I'm calling flex, so I will be unfortunately occupied.
Not unfortunately with this card.
Right, yeah. But yeah, I think that Silva is just stronger in a lot of areas that historically has beaten Priscilla. She's 5 years younger, so she's got that advantage as well. And, you know, like we've seen, they love to show this stat. 67% of the time, I believe the younger fighter wins. So give me that Silva.
67% of the time, it works. Every time. Yeah, you know, I was kind of coming into this, you know, maybe trying to think of a dog shot, maybe trying to think of a way to fade that juiced, not even juiced, but like just, you know, they set this flyweight women's bout at over 1.5. Flyweight women's fight, those go the distance all the time. Mm-hmm. I was really anxious to try to fade that narrative. I cannot do it. I find myself on the under 1.5 at plus 120. I find myself on Corrine Silva. I find myself on Corrine Silva by finish. Like you said, I think that she does a lot of things that Priscilla Cachoeira struggles with. One of the big ones being willing to grapple. 3 takedowns per 15 minutes for Karine. Somebody that, if you watch her regional tape, somebody willing to start shooting takedowns, I mean, within a minute of the fight. And Priscilla Cachoeira, somebody with 65% takedown defense and a 31% opponent control rate. That means a third of the time that she has spent in the UFC in her career, she has spent on the bottom of somebody else being controlled. That's no bueno for Karine Silva, who has 11, count them, 11 round 1 finishes. She's gonna do it, and she's gonna do it early. Doesn't matter whether it's KO or sub. I lean sub because Priscilla catch a beating is tough as nails, and she's been sub before. So give me Karine Silva by submission. Let's see if I got a line. I do not have a line. Those fuckers. So when that opens up, give it a whirl.
Hammer it, yeah. Hammer it. Just as much as you're hammering Ronnie Yaya.
Now,
he's the lock of the week, Guru. He's the lock. Ronnie's the lock.
That's so check out Bane. He's opening up his new YouTube channel. He'll be the MMA lock of the night, lock of the week. He will be taking your money for a pool and definitely not investing it into some sort of wedding or something of his own doing.
I miss Prime Man Preet, dog. I miss Prime Man Preet.
He presented himself as a very, very nice individual. Somebody who didn't do anything to me personally, but just can't align yourself.
You know what I just noticed? I just noticed that the tapestry that you have behind you is the same exact one. Not the one that Usman Covington won. The one, over the right shoulder. Every girl I slept with in college had that same tapestry.
I probably borrowed it from them.
Guru sneaks in and just
after I laid some good dick.
Oh, put that pipe down.
That means we're Eskimo. That means we're Eskimo brothers. What's up?
I don't like how you said that. Talking about pipe, we've arrived at our first fight of the evening, last fight that we're going to break down. It's a 135-pound bout between Baby Brady Highstand and Dana Storm Batgari.
Bam Bam.
Man, Bam Bam. What a
Bam Bam.
10 years of difference in terms of age. Brady is 23. Dana is the ripe age of 33. Each guy, I mean, not too big experience differential. 14 fights for Dana, 8 for Brady. We've seen Brady's rise, I would say. He came up through the Ultimate Fighter, lost that split decision to Ricky Tercios. Thankfully, he was extended an invitation to the UFC by way of decisioning Fernie Garcia his last time out. But I don't like this one for Brady. I really don't. I think Dana packs a ton of power. His last 2 fights, I don't think are necessarily reflective of his skill set. Dana Batgari, when he's at his best, is a stone cold killer. But I just don't think that he really showed that against Chris Gutierrez or Kyung Ho Kang. But I believe that prime version of Dana, the Storm, is going to be back in full effect this Saturday. He takes out Highstand in big, emphatic fashion.
Yeah. I came into this leaning Brady Highstand. I kind of like.
Oh, he has 106 knockdowns?
Yeah.
How many fucking knockdowns does this guy have?
Why the fuck does that say 106 knockdowns? It's probably. God damn it,
Dana
TB.
Batgari has knocked down his opponents 106 times. Wow. Hammer the line. Hammer the line. He's going to fucking murder him.
My guess is either 10 or 6. I don't know which.
Could you imagine it was all one opponent that he knocked down like 100 times?
The only ref that would allow that to happen would be Chris Taioni or Mario Yamasaki.
Oh, dude, yeah, Yamasaki. Maybe Steve. What was his name?
Mazzagatti.
Steve Mazzagatti. Yeah,
that guy was drunk. Yeah. Talk about beer and cigarettes. That guy drank the whole fucking keg and came out there.
The whole bar.
Crazy mustache. Old fights. I'm gonna have to watch some Fight Pass after this. Listen, like I said, I kind of came in on Brady, was leaning towards his wrestling upside with maybe some interesting scraps happening on the feet, but you kind of take a deeper look and the Alatang Haley fight is the one sore thumb in his grappling department there. And then that kind of came towards the end of that fight. Really fucking crazy fight. You want to go back and watch that. That fight was fucking nuts. the Kung Ho Kang and like you said, Chris Gutierrez.
Hold on, go back to the stats for Kyung Ho Kang. 276 landed on 5 attempts. I mean, listen, Dana Bakary.
What the fuck?
106 knockdowns. He's outlanding 271 times. This is guys. This is a generational talent. Dana Bakary is a fighter that we haven't seen in decades. He's an individual that is otherworldly. He's a supernatural.
He's landing 271 strikes without attempting them.
Without even attempting them. Imagine when he attempts how much he's gonna land. Bet Dana. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my goodness. Listen, I'm betting Dana, not necessarily for those reasons. I think Brady might struggle to get the takedowns. If Brady gets tired and struggles to continue to land those takedowns or to hold down Dana, I think he's going to end up in trouble. His striking defense is extremely suspect. Don't let that 50% fool you. Just getting pieced the fuck up by Ricky Tercios is a bad.
Look,
bad
I mean,
look.
again, once again, not to distract or take away attention, but Dana's distance accuracy at 106%. He's landing on over 100%. How can you?
Stop. We got to throw these stats out. TB, check that. I hope you've listened to this, bud. Check that out. That's 106% accurate. Well, it makes sense. I'm surprised his accuracy. Listen, I'm surprised his accuracy isn't higher. He's landing 270 strikes he didn't attempt.
No, but when you look at the brass tacks of it, Dana's got 10 finishes, inside 12 victories, 3 of those by way of submission. If Brady Highstand wants to dance on the mat with him, I think that there's some potential for him to get submitted. We saw Chad Anheliger. I mispronounced that.
I think you got close.
I was like, yeah, Chad, something. In 2019, he punched out Brady in round 3, so the chin has been cracked before, and I think Dana's going to continue that damage on Saturday night. Michael Litteris wants to know about the best bet. It's Ronnie Yaya. The best bet is Ronnie Yaya. That's RHANI Yaya.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, best bet. Certainly some interesting thoughts for that sentiment. We've definitely hit a couple here throughout the show. One of my more interesting ones, right, is Bruno Silva as a dog. I like the under 1.5 in the main event. I like maybe a split decision type prop on the Jared Gordon fight. Lucindo, I could see maybe is like one of the decent parlay pieces. I like Semi. I got him at a dog price. I like Glenn by finish, which is crazy. I like Montel by decision. I don't like the Carosa fight. I like really like the over 1.5 in that Usman Tafa fight. I really, really think that it's a sloppy heavyweight BS nonsense type fight. Karine Silva, I think maybe is a decent parlay piece as well. Like her by finish, like that under 1.5. And in this fight, I lean Dana Bakary and I lean him by knockout as well. I think he might get it done. But
I like that comment. Bet the farm on Ronnie, and then I'll have 4 farms. That's gonna be my new metric for betting and whatnot. Not units this, not unit that. My farms. I'll have 12 farms. And this is
dude. I'm gonna hold you to that. I better see your fucking tweets when I want to see a Ronnie Yaya tweet at Chronic Conversations. I want to see $4 bet, which would be 6 farms for you. 6 farm bet.
6 farms. That'd be many farms.
Many farms.
I could retire with that amount of farms. Talk about farms though. If you actually want someone that'll eventually build your bankroll enough to purchase a farm, it's Blood Money Bets. That's the guy that you want to go to for farms. He would also say bet Ronnie Yaya. I think that Blood Money Bets is also. I heard through the grapevine that he's also betting Ronnie this week.
I heard he put his biggest bet of the year on Ronnie Yaya.
I heard he has his life savings on Ronnie Yaya.
Unbelievable. He definitely doesn't. He's way too sharp. Guys, listen, thanks so much for tuning in. Brady, high stand, not gonna. Yeah, don't really like him in this spot at all. Guys, listen, thanks so much for tuning in. Ben, bro, thanks so much for joining us, filling in the very difficult shoes to fill of Mr. TB Scouting MMA, who was unable to make it today. My amazing co-host at TB Scouting MMA. Follow him on Twitter, Verdict, Instagram, and Tapology. Me, the Guru, at Guru Scouting MMA. Twitter, Verdict, Instagram, at Tapology. Somehow, if you're not following Ben the Bane Davis on Twitter, I mean, he's fucking hysterical. I don't know why you wouldn't be. And he's giving me all this amazing betting breakdown advice. I mean, come on,
picks.
Ben. Anything to send us out here?
Free money. Tune into Flex Fight Series this Saturday. We've got some amazing prospects returning. Joe the Bone Caldone and Jaden Shuey. The Shuey Show from Boise, Idaho enters the Long Island cage for the second time. He's got a real tough task in front of him. Last time out, he got a 59-second KO. We'll see if he can do it even quicker this Saturday night live on Spectation Sport. If you need a link, go to my bio. I'll get you $5 off that pay-per-view.
Love it. We love it. We love it. Ben, dude, thank you so fucking much for joining us, man.
Thank you.
We will see you next week for what was supposed to be the co-main event of this week. You've got Song Yadong taking on Ricky Simone in your bantamweight main event. Supposed to fight on Saturday, now moved 1 week and added 2 rounds. Certainly gets the respect it deserves. Ben, any quick prediction on that one before I let you go? I gotta juice you for all you're worth. I gotta squeeze you out.
I respect it. Pretty Ricky Simone finally getting some love in this main event slot. We already understand that he's a cardio animal. He weaponizes the gas tank against many opponents, which has led to a great record of 20-3. Song Yadong was, by all accounts, on his way to stealing that 5th, 4th. I'm not sure which round it was before that cut prevented him from continuing. That was in September. Here he is making the 2023 debut. I think Ricky Simone's going to win. I'm not going to explain why or how, but I'm going to pick Ricky Simone.
How many farms will you be putting on Ricky Simone? That's all I want to know.
Maybe a third of a farm.
I'll put
my corn and maybe my a couple pigs on Ricky Simone, but not the whole farm.
Not the cows.
Not the cows, not the chickens, not the wheat,
not the tomatoes.
Not tomatoes.
Not tomatoes. Oh my goodness.
On Ricky Simone.
Unbelievable. Listen, if you want to hear my breakdown, tune in next week, Wednesday, back to regular time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be there, be square. See you later. Take care. Thanks for joining us.